Welcome back to another episode of the Bamboo Season Podcast, the podcast where you'll hear stories of transformation and growth by some amazing, inspiring individuals. Now, March is Women's History Month, so all month long you can expect to see some amazing women on this show that are making history. And my guest today is a previous or returning guest. She is an amazing, fierce, powerful Leo Black Queen.
Damn, right.
I bring you Gabby Funches.
Funches.
Oops, sorry.
Okay.
What's going on, Gabby?
This is the U's just out here trying to be great.
No trying. Doing.
We do. You know what?
That's it.
I've decided recently I'm going to probably stop with so much of the humble stuff, and we're just going to go out and be the force of nature that we are.
A wise man said to me, well, not to me personally, but I took it personal because I heard the song.
Okay.
Never let a hard time humble us.
Absolutely not.
Remember that, okay?
One of my favorite things to live by.
Now, for those who didn't tune into the first episode, what you need to go back and listen if you haven't, make sure you subscribe, click the link. Everybody else says that on their podcast. I'm going to say it too. Whatever. Because I think to myself, if I do that, when I watch a podcast, I really don't. Like, I'll watch a podcast. Sometimes I do. When they say it, make sure you click the link and subscribe. And I really don't.
You don't. You should.
But you can. But what I've seen is like subscriptions don't always lead to a bunch of views. Like I have over 100 subscribers. My views don't always get 100. But anyways, neither here nor there. For those who weren't here, let us know who is Gabby in a sense of what do you do and who do you help?
My name is Gabrielle Funches. I am a licensed massage therapist. I studied in the background for medical massage. I also have a background as a chiropractic assistant, a corrective exercise specialist, but I also specialize in wellness coaching, mentoring, and teaching.
And what about when it comes to the trauma side of things?
So my specialty through those lines of work is the physical manifestations of PTSD and CPTSD. So where I specialize is helping people understand and deal with what happens when your body spends too much time under stress.
Stress as in trauma?
Trauma, what you and I discuss on a very regular basis when it comes to like sobriety, stress and trauma can present itself in quite a few different ways. But that is where I specialize, is to help you understand what it looks like and how to overcome it.
I like that because when it comes to stress on our bodies, mentally, physically, sometimes I think we can get it twisted to where we think, oh, I'm not stressed out because I feel okay.
Yeah, I see that quite a bit actually. Even
with fitness. I explain to my clients oftentimes how important it is to rest and recover, because here you're putting stress on your body physically. Mm-hmm. You might feel super sore the next day. That don't mean nothing, but you're literally putting physical stress on yourself for the betterment, but still stress. So you still need to rest and recover, just like mental health days you need. If you got a stressful day, stressful week, the kids are crying, this and that, the dog, you may need to take a day to go get your nails done, go get hyperbaric chamber at Desert Moon Wellness.
I think the idea of people having idle time now has become more stressful than actually having stress, because then they start feeling unproductive, and then the lack of production leads to feelings of failure. I've learned with some people.
You've learned with me. I'm gonna tell you now.
Oh, okay.
Because sometimes I feel that way.
I used to when I identified as a workaholic. I was very much so, like, if I wasn't busy or if I felt like I was falling behind and I took time to myself as I was falling behind, then I was a bad parent or wife or whatever position I was holding in life at the time, where I'm like, I shouldn't be resting when I know I have other things that need to get done. That's a lie.
I believe it's a lie too, because for me, as somebody who works for themselves, I always feel there's some things that could be done. Mm-hmm. So if I have free time and I'm like, okay, I kind of did this and this and that, and I decide to kind of just lay, I'm like, fuck, I'm laying here. I could be editing something. Mm-hmm. I could be writing something down. I've gotten better at it of just watch something on TV that just mindless. Exactly. I love just maybe some trash TV. 90 Day Fiance is my thing. All the variations of it are amazing. But yeah, 90 Day, before the 90 Day, the last resort, after the 90 Day. It's just, I like to watch it 1 hour to just laugh, enjoy it, and not have to worry about anything or think about anything. And so with your experience in PTSD, and you said CPTSD, so I was diagnosed in 2015 2015.
Were you really?
Yeah, surprisingly.
I'm not surprised, but I'm more surprised that you're telling me now in this capacity than you did not.
I did. You just don't listen.
Well, you did have a lot to say.
Selective hearing.
I did perfect that, actually.
Yeah, I've said it on different podcasts. I've said it on my Instagram, but I mean, it's okay.
But you were officially diagnosed?
Yeah, in
Okay.
2015. So my accident happened in 2014. I fell out a 4-story window, and I didn't see a doctor, psychiatrist until 2015. I forgot
Okay.
when. Asked me questions, all this and that. Okay, well, you have PTSD, you have anxiety.
Oh, okay.
Here's Adderall. Here's Xanax. I was like, whoa, what? And at that point in my life, I've never dealt that. Well, I did. Yeah, at that point in my life, I didn't dab into prescription medications.
Especially while you were trying to not be overly attached to some form of substance outside of
Well,
yourself.
at that point, I wasn't even thinking about that. This is
Oof.
2015. So I was just like, especially with Xanax. I had friends in the past that would have Xanax nights where they'll do it and get messed up. And yeah, girl, you got to party a little bit.
I'm good.
I never did. Well, I did once. I remember one time I did. I used to do stupid shit that I would hear in rap songs, but I can't lie to you, dude. I used to do stupid shit that I hear in rap. I remember one time this rapper said, walking through the mall smoking, I don't give a fuck. Me and my friend rolled up, went to Planet Hollywood, walking through smoking like we were cool. Hey, listen, this is
But
20, this is 12 years ago.
You know what? I will say that for every stupid decision,
yeah.
it should usually come with some form of like clarity afterwards. Like the fact that you can sit here and say that you had a life lesson behind like just doing stuff that you knew that you heard somewhere that we knew at some point in time that it probably wasn't the right thing to do. But
and look, I know I can't prove it, but I know there's people out there who hear or heard things in songs, rap songs specifically, and have went and done it. You know, they heard Future say some stuff.
Yeah.
And you know, people went and bought Gucci flip-flops when he said it in a song. Crazy.
That's why they use, you know what? That's a whole nother conversation.
That is another conversation,
but that is exactly why they use music for certain things.
That's what Kendrick be trying to tell us. Drake had me out here smoking hookah and doing the stupid shit.
Ooh,
See, you can't listen to Drake.
But
anyways,
on the light skins,
so one thing they had said in the song, I forgot what song it was. We were sipping lean and put the Xanax pill in it at the bottom to let it sit.
Y'all were living on the edge, huh?
Best sleep I had in my life, besides my coma. I did that once, and that was the only time I abused any of that. But anyways, diagnosed PTSD.
Mm-hmm.
And with me, all my life, I've always been, I've hated titles and labels.
Agreed.
Right?
Same.
So when they told me that, she told me that, my first response mentally was like, your mama? Like, no, I don't got PTSD. What do you mean? I didn't want to accept it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was just bullshit. So life goes on, and I still didn't believe it. Then I started researching. I wish we had ChatGPT then, but I started Googling what are symptoms of PTSD? What are things that help treat it?
Right.
All that. And that's PTSD and depression. I wasn't depressed, but in my head, I was like, with what just happened?
Redundant though. It usually just comes with the territory.
Yes, but with what just happened to me, falling from a story window, all this shit, I'm like, I know something's coming. So I want to get ahead of it before that. And that's kind of how I started initially dabbing into fitness at that point. And then time went on, and I started to notice subtle little things. When I think of PTSD, when she told me I got PTSD, in my head, I'm thinking of war, veterans, soldiers. That's always what I tied it to. I don't got PTSD. I ain't go to war. That's what they...
Right, I didn't witness anything that would cause my system to
what I thought.
malfunction.
But no, and I wasn't having nightmares.
Huh.
I wasn't having some of the typical, I guess are typical symptoms you might think of. But what I did notice I was having was dissociation.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to talk about my accident.
Mm-hmm.
I never talked about it for years. And a little bit of irritation and aggravation.
A little bit?
Yeah. It wasn't extreme, I was always just on edge. But I just noticed
your snap would be...
Yeah. And it would be a pop-off
yeah.
I could say some shit. So then I started noticing that, and it took me years before fitness was really what got me through that.
I could see that.
You know, I would go work out, and now my body was broken, so I couldn't really work out, but I would go and walk the treadmill
just do something to get that energy out
every day for 1 hour, and I gradually increased and got healthier, got to weights, And that's where I got the idea of, okay, I can do this to help other people. And that's kind of what shifted me to become a fitness coach. And then once I became a fitness coach, that helped even more the PTSD journey of, I don't know if I call it healing or what, but it helped me feel better.
Yeah, you kind of become, I call it coming back to yourself. Is that when we talk about disassociation, that's what it is that basically getting you away from who you are so you can feel safe to some capacity. But what isn't explained to us is that you actually have to kind of go through it to get through it. Like you have to feel that stuff and your body has to experience it on its own time in its real way before your body allows you to move past it. So if it doesn't happen, you can acknowledge that it happened all day. But if your body is like, well, I'm not ready to do that, then you're just going to end up in the cycle that your body got stuck in, that chemical cycle that we've always talked about, whatever that cocktail of hormone and cortisol is for you.
Well, now, in your experience with PTSD, because like I mentioned, for me, my symptoms, I didn't think I had it because I wasn't, like I said, a veteran, right? So what are some misconceptions you might have heard or came across when it comes to people being diagnosed PTSD or even unsure if they have it?
In my experience, most people don't realize they have it. What I look for, because obviously I'm not a doctor, I cannot technically diagnose you.
Good disclaimer.
It really does have to come with a disclaimer.
Yeah.
But being an anatomy geek and then understanding and learning pathology and how things work and then working with other professionals who have clout in their, practices of mental health and things of that nature, you have these collaborative conversations of understanding what happens to the body when the brain goes haywire. So the first thing I will always look for is the relationship between the jaw and the chest and the jaw and the hip. Both of those things will tell me everything I need to know. Everything else in between is just kind of something that happens secondary.
Okay.
Do I need to jump a little bit further into that?
So you said you checked the relationship between the jaw and the chest.
So jaw to chest. So that's relationship to first rib, lungs, diaphragm. Most people with forms of PTSD, especially complex PTSD, their breathing patterns change or they overly use cannabis quite a bit. So a lot of times their ribs will stop moving the way that they're supposed to when they breathe. So they shallow breathe all the time. So to ground themselves a lot, instead of breathing through things, they clench their jaw and then they end up here.
Okay. Now, when it comes to PTSD, one thing I've learned more lately was, besides my accident, besides that, I saw a post or something where it said sometimes PTSD or trauma, not just PTSD, but trauma, isn't always something that happened to us. It's something that didn't happen for us.
Yeah.
And that's where I realized, like, wow, like growing up homeless, living in out of motels, not having a stable family environment, not having my father around through my growing years, that's trauma.
Yeah. I remember when I was going through my healing process, and I feel like I went down a spiritual journey and a healing process at the same time.
Wow.
And for anybody who has ever done that, it feels like being on a roller coaster ride with no seatbelt on. Because you're trying to get to know yourself the way God created you while getting to know God while still putting yourself back together. And it's hard. But the one thing that I found was when I became self-reliant on my spirituality, I was trying to find these truths that I didn't have, as like being a woman, being a mother, being a mother that's empty nesting, I had all of these identities as a woman that nobody could help me through. So when I was ready to heal from them, I had no recollection of what to do with it. So I'm out here winging it.
Raw dogging it, just
out here raw dogging life, dude.
Sometimes you got to just throw yourself into the ocean. No life jacket.
I'm also a really firm believer in purpose too. In terms of, I think that when we go through certain things that require us to question the whys and the hows, and we might end up with those life epiphanies that allow us to do things for other people. But I can't tell you how many times I've come across people where I'm like, that information was for you. I don't know why I had to go through it the way that I did. We could have kind of like padded that down a little bit, but I'm happy to give it to you because that was obviously meant for you.
And when it comes to PTSD or trauma, any kind of trauma, what if somebody's listening to this and they're unsure, what's like a sign besides, because they might
how to self-identify
in a sense, yeah. Because for me, I wouldn't have known to the jaw to chin, all that stuff. So like somebody else who's unsure of how to see that? Is there any kind of signs?
So
within
headaches are
themselves?
usually a really big one. Jaw-related headaches, so like teeth grinding, teeth clenching, because it usually pinches off some form of like either carotid movement or suboccipital movement. So that can be a form. So if you can catch yourself clenching your jaw, just kind of remind yourself to let it go. At some point in time, it's probably going to need some manual release, but also that relationship, the muscles that attach the jaw to the first rib are going to need some attention as well. Another thing is, you ever heard the term when people call someone a tight ass?
Yeah.
That's where it comes from. People will clench their glutes and clench their pelvic floor to feel safe. So it's like
I'm not laughing at that, but
No,
I'm just picturing somebody walking around with their ass all tight.
right. But then it's like, you
Motherfucking
want to laugh, but then you have to kind of feel some form of empathy because you're like, oh, bless your heart, you don't feel safe in the world.
Keep that ass tight. That's so funny.
But that's really what it is. Because if you ever talk to those people who walk around really tight, like they will tell you they've got, family, they can't talk to their wives, their kids are cutting up, the job doesn't pay them enough, Dorian.
Because I'm just thinking like, bro, if I go to the gym tomorrow, I'm just be like, oh yeah,
So-
her daddy hates her.
So imagine what it's like walking through the world like me, where like I see everybody's everything.
Yeah, and that's that's got to be crazy because that's like almost like people who can like a psychologists and stuff like that. When they talk to people,
Yeah.
they're probably picking things up. When you are walking in the world and you see people, I already know the answer. You're probably judging, huh?
No,
Not judging, but you're
sometimes I
kind of
just
like
want to enjoy my day.
I don't want to say judging. I don't want to say you sit there and look around like, oh, yep, him.
I will judge you when I'm in a dating mode, though.
But I mean, if you're throughout your regular day, you're going to the grocery store or anything like that, is it hard for you to turn off? Is it always on
Yeah.
to where you can walk around and you see people like, oh, his shoulders, okay.
It's always on.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you ever want to be like, excuse me, sir?
Yeah.
Did your dad
Are you
beat
okay?
you? Did your dad hit you? Did you
Yeah.
mom leave you? Have you done it ever?
No. Because with great power comes great responsibility.
Ooh,
It's-
Spider-Man.
And sometimes you just, you gotta let people go through their stuff. And
Yeah.
a lot of times I'll walk around in what I say that 56 variations of that same outfit that I have. So when people are asking me like, why you walk around with so much hand sanitizer? It's not hand sanitizer, it's lotion, fool. And then it starts the conversation.
You said you do bring it in when you go or dating?
So I'm a really tough nut to crack. So like for me, if you sit in
What?
front of me and I
Okay.
can see your mommy issues in your shoulders, I'm sorry.
You sorry what?
It's just I've been in a
So-
couple of situations where I'm like, I can't listen to you because your traps are too close to your ears.
So you just,
Yes.
well, look, girl, so what I was trying to say was
And I just
We
want to tell
gonna
you to
go to
breathe.
get sushi, and I just wanted to tell you I wanted to go. I get that. So for you in that situation, is it you're just Xing them out, or are you willing and trying to
It's the
get
presentation.
more understanding?
So if you're approaching me in a way where it's very ego driven, and there's also something to be said about pheromone attraction, and we're not going to dabble into that too. But you're trying to get me to go down a road with you that you don't know that I can see you. So all the things that you're not saying, or you're not being yourself, or the whatever it is, if you had came up to me in a more genuine manner, if you just wanted to have a conversation or something like that, then maybe I would probably be a little bit more like look past it, and then we could roll down the road of like, yeah, this is what I do for a living. I would love to show you what I do for a living sometime and get those shoulders to drop.
What do you think people are can be in denial
Absolutely.
of trauma and PTSD?
Absolutely. I think that the world has gotten so desensitized to what's happening in it is that they don't realize they're traumatized by living in it. Yeah, like I've seen, where we start talking about like all this political stuff going on right now, and everybody can respond in such a rage, and people don't realize responding from an emotional state is a traumatic response for whatever it is that happened. And you hear a lot of people having, racial conversations and political conversations, but nobody's actually having conversations about maybe we're kind of actually due for some change, regardless of what that change looks like. Hold on to your seatbelts. But if you're coming from an emotional place, you're not actually speaking from what you're thinking. It's just always about how you feel. So you're expressing how you feel, but it's not really about what you're feeling it in.
Yeah, I've noticed that too with a lot of stuff. Whatever it is, like of people just always responding, reacting so emotionally.
That
to
is
things.
PTSD.
it's so wild to me. Like I guess I'm kind of healing now because I don't do that as much as I used to.
Isn't it crazy how much you recognize how much you used to do it now that everybody else is?
Because what you said, like when it comes to politics, the race, anything, it's always social media. Like shit's gonna happen, right? Good, bad, and that's subjective to how you believe. People will just go and lash out and just get so emotionally tied to people and things that have nothing to do with them.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, their life is not where it wants to be. But
or even just like you won't take that same feeling into solving your own problems, because that's how we got here in the first place.
That's a word.
Don't start with me. But that's how we got here in the first place. Everybody being involved in something that's not their business. You
mind your motherfucking business.
Well,
I love that.
Well, I mean, think about it, because where we are is as a result of hyper-capitalism. So you were spending your money on things that you shouldn't have. There were people way back in the 80s, those tree huggers that nobody liked to that like to talk to you, that were telling you corporations were going to take over the world. So now you have to live with that. And at some point in time, that bubble's going to burst and change is going to have to be made. But what accountability are you going to take in the mess that is our society? And that's the first step into PTSD. Your ability to heal and grow is directly reflected on your ability to tolerate truth. The amount of truth you can tolerate will determine how much healing you can do.
And I mean, I don't think people want to face truth.
That's the thing.
And why is that?
Because the truth hurts.
Okay.
So where I come in with the physical aspect of it, the truth that you hide in your body, there isn't. When you start to correct one thing, and we've talked about this, something else has to follow. So if you start to correct it physically, mentally something has to follow, emotionally something has to follow, spiritually something has to follow. You can't do one and the rest don't go. So it's easier to start with the physical body versus the other way around. Because when people start to feel things mentally, emotionally, then they feel like they're on track, but things still hurt. When things don't hurt, they're much more receptive to do the things that are like mental aerobics.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I thought you was going to keep going off. Well, because I know for me, I didn't want to, like I said in the beginning, don't like the label, don't like the whatever of you got PTSD, you got this. And a part of me was fearful. I was like, at what point is it going to boil over to where I have those severe symptoms of anger, rage? It never came. But I had a certain fear of that eventually coming.
I did.
You knew it was coming?
Well,
or you had it?
Yeah. I had
rage?
Oh, yeah.
What's wrong with you?
We talked about it the last time I was here.
This is months later, girl. What happened to you? Why were you so angry?
Because everybody watched me go through it.
Go through what?
That abuse.
What abuse?
With my ex-husband. Oh, so you want me to run down the story?
Not the whole story, but...
So with my ex-husband, after you come out of the clear, you kind of get in this almost euphoric state, right? When you survive something. And one of the things that I couldn't do was rest, because now I'm dealing with children on my own. And he didn't stop. So leaving him did not stop him from tormenting my life. When... I think he had a stroke or something when he finally stopped, because he wasn't physically able to do it. My body never recognized that it was safe, ever. So there was no having new friendships without waiting for the shoe to drop or waiting for your fucked up nature to present itself. And then you have to deal with everybody else watched you go through it without intervening, without saying anything. And it was just, well, whatever you wanted to do. Now, granted, I take full responsibility for my own actions, for, the things that I caused and the things that I accepted. That's the other part of accepting the truth, was that I stayed I stayed past the first time and the second time and all the other things, but it does not change the fact that I have to deal with and let my body process the rage it was never allowed to have.
So were you just lashing out on people, your kids? I was
always defensive. I was never a shit starter, but boy, I was an absolute shit finisher. But I'll make you regret trying me. And it wasn't always intentional. It wasn't my intentions to hurt your feelings. It was my instincts that was saying, if you start and I let you win, I can't afford to let you win. So I have to destroy you.
Damn, that's crazy, because I think I had moments in my life like that too. I'm okay, chill, I don't mind my business, whatever. But once you say some shit to me or once you whatever, okay, let's play. I like to play.
Man.
And because I'm witty and quick with it, I would say some shit that would really dagger you in the heart. Like, don't joke with me. I'm not this way no more. But that's how I used to be.
Same. I did the work.
But you know what I did? I tell you sometimes, I've told Lorraine this all the time, I'm somewhat of a genius. I put things together.
What? I wouldn't put that past you.
I started to realize, like, you know what? With the wittiness and with all that, instead of clapping back so much with anger and a shot back, let me change that to some motivation or some fire-ass words to people.
I started fasting.
Stay at camera.
I started fasting.
What do you mean you started fasting? Where did that come from? What are you talking about?
When it came to controlling it, I didn't have it in me, so I had to go like be in solitude and be by myself and like sit with my thought and be like, for a minute. Like I probably cried for like a year straight. Like every day was just the release of something.
I love solitude so much. Like I'm not in as much as I used to be, but man, that's where the magic happens.
Mm-hmm.
For myself, I could speak like, and I didn't purposely do it like I'm gonna separate from everybody. I stopped drinking.
Yeah, and then you realize you don't have things in common with people.
Exactly. When you stop drinking, and I don't make it seem like people, my friends or people I was cool with were like, we don't want to be around you or anything. I had to do it for myself because I didn't have the willpower to be like, all right, I can come hang out with you guys for whatever the occasion is and not drink. I didn't trust myself.
Yeah.
I knew something in me was going to be like, all right, let me just get a couple. And I know
that's the PTSD. The PTSD is saying, it's saying a couple of different things. It's saying that my identity sits here in this environment, so this is what I do. The other part to it is that habitual nature. So there's a chemical response that goes off in your brain when you're around alcohol that's like mine. It's like it's supposed to be there. It's supposed to happen. I'm supposed to have this in my hand to be in this environment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, fucking put. See, my thing is I know how to break down how I did certain things and why, but not to that level how you just did. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like you can ask me, why'd you drink or how'd you stop? And I could tell you, but breaking it down in a more strategic way, I guess, or scientific way of understanding of the body. But
to understand that for me in my line of work helps me to create the success that I get. And it's not so much of a success for me, but it's a success for you guys to understand the things about yourself that you have yet to figure out and help you get to a place where not only you can, but then you can maintain and control it on your own. It's the joy of being a curious mind.
And well, back to the solitude, I wish more people would be okay or understand that I think it's needed, to be honest, like away from everything you can that's possible. Like for me, it was just work, home. Didn't hang out, when I went sober, I also went celibate.
Yeah.
Consciously. I made the decision. I was like, you know what? Because I knew those two were hand in hand throughout my life. Alcohol and women.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because this is going to sound crazy. Maybe it's not, because I had told a friend once and they said the same thing. Throughout from 20 to the time I gave up alcohol, yeah, I probably, most of the time, I was never sober and intimate with a woman.
That's fairly normal. It's that dopamine. Remember when we talked about like when your brain was so like not getting the dopamine it needed, so it was getting it through the alcohol and it was getting it through the drugs, and then when you stopped, you're like, we were talking about sugar, and you're like, is that why I eat like so many donuts? Yes, because your brain is looking for dopamine. And it's looking for a healthy dopamine, but because we're supposed to have community when we're recovering from things, we're supposed to have people to uplift us, to not only feed that dopamine, but to give serotonin as well. It doesn't exist anymore. Like, where were your people that were like, you're doing great? Where were your people that were like, when you're having a bad day that you could call? Why was solitude the only answer?
Shit, I think it's the only right answer. Because during that solitude time,
but as humans, that's what we're supposed to have. We're supposed
solitude or community,
both. So when you reach a certain point,
but I think because I agree with that. Also, you do need community, but I think back in those times when that was the thing, it was like all you had. Now we have all these distractions, things we can do where you feel like, oh, I got to be alone or do all this other bullshit and not care about community. If it ain't like your close friends or if it ain't like your person, you feel like you don't need community. Not everybody. But for me, I knew, like I said, I didn't purposely do it, but I knew I couldn't put myself in certain positions or areas if I wanted to continue not drink.
Right.
And then I couldn't be involved with women because that's just going to be another distraction, or like you said, me chasing another sense of dopamine. And I was like, no, I honestly wanted to gain power and strength over myself and my life. And that was my mindset. It was like, if you can control both heads,
you're golden. You're going to win at
real
life.
shit. You're going to gain your power back. And I slowly did. And when I went through that celibate time period, I also gained my power back, but also my self-worth.
Yeah.
I started to realize,
because you weren't just giving it away.
I wasn't just out here willy-nilly to every single person just because she's fine or just because that, and with the alcohol involved. Because like I said, for 10 plus years, I only had intimate situations when I was drunk. And when I was sober and I thought about that, I was like,
isn't that crazy?
Damn, it's crazy. I mean, there were probably one or two times where I had actual girlfriend that's different, I think. Not different, but actual girlfriend. Then there was obviously sober interactions, but...
Right, but your normal state of being was being
drunk
and reckless.
Drunk and reckless. And yeah, man, I loved it because, like I said, when I went a certain period without both, the self-worth to where I was thinking back like, oh, you ain't getting none of this no more. That's how I felt. I felt like I was on this, I guess,
you start self-preserving. No, it's self-preserving.
I saw myself as value. And I think
that's another thing that starts to happen when people start to feel good about themselves. And I remember like really early on in my process where people started to call me arrogant. Because when I started pulling away, and I'm obviously an intelligent individual, and I will tell you intellectually to get the fuck away from me.
Per my last email.
Per my last email. and my forever perplexities of why your behavior is this way. But that's kind of what happens to people. So then what starts to happen when people start to get sober, now your safety net of dopamine is going away.
I like it. You said that when you get better, people might say it's arrogant. I don't know about you, but you almost feel at times you can feel a level of not guilt, but like, what's the word I'm looking for? Not shame.
Survivor's remorse.
Yes. Like that. Exactly that. Right there. Boom. Bingo.
Okay.
That's what you can feel like, damn, am I wrong for feeling better? Am I wrong for keep feeling myself at this level of worth?
See, I wasn't wrong for feeling better. I feel like people would try to make me feel wrong for holding them accountable to where they were. So I used to get treated very badly in terms of being like taken advantage of, or, I was known for helping people through problems until I start getting you through yours and holding you accountable. And now I'm this asshole.
People don't like accountability. They don't. It's scary.
I mean, you can't grow without it. But then also, too, that's why I do what I do. I understand it a little bit differently, where the things that would make most people agitated and, off-put, that it helps me understand where everybody is and what I can offer them. Even those people who think I was arrogant for healing. The people who are relying on me now needed that to happen.
And when it comes to back to the trauma, like when you do start to notice it, you want help, right? I think some people don't know how to get help.
Absolutely.
Or how to fix it. They might think instantly, okay, therapy. I got to go see a therapist. I got to see that type of person to get help. Outside of that, what are things people should start doing or implementing into their life to start working towards that healing aspect of things?
I think, this one's going to be a good one. So I think people should start with how much truth can you tolerate? I would actually love to create an activity of a journal of how much truth about you can you tolerate. Is this behavior actually me, or is this a result of how people treat me? Is this a behavior that it is naturally me, or is this a result of because something happened to me? And I think when people can sit with themselves and peel back those layers of truth gently on their own, in their own recognizance and the safety of their own homes, then it will start to make sense. Then it will start to make sense why certain things hurt physiologically. It'll make sense why they think a certain way about certain things. So I think starting with the truth is the first thing. I think the other thing is diet. I think people don't realize how far diet goes. And there's nothing wrong, obviously, to have your indulgences from time to time. But if your life is continuously indulgent, then your internal voice and anything attached to it is going to be skewed and distorted as well. Good sleep and good resources, that will take you pretty far too. Your body can only rest when it is in REM sleep. If you're not getting good sleep, then no matter how you feel about anything, I don't care how great you talk to your body, you're not going to heal from anything. So it's just it's the normal stuff, right? The truth, what you eat, your environment, people. And stand on that. And I think it also has something to do with people like us who are the resources to create more resources.
Why do you think people might be hesitant?
Guilt, shame. I mean, think about, because you're how old? 37?
Huh? Damn, I look like that. I'm 33.
Are you 33?
Girl, what's going
I'm
on
37.
here? Yeah, you projecting.
Damn.
She just projected her age on me. That is some.
I don't know why I thought you said you told me you were 37.
91, baby.
God, now 90s children.
You're just a tad few years. You act like you in the late 70s or something. Early 70s.
With having kids young, they add about 10 years of experience onto you. So.
I could see that.
All right.
Because your oldest is what, 22?
She'll be 23 in June.
23. Okay.
I win.
But continue what you were saying.
What was the question again?
You were talking. No, it was no question. You were just going off projecting. Before you projected your age on me, I forgot what you were saying.
All right. Then if it's important, it'll come back.
I forgot.
What? Oh, the community. I think there's something to building community for people who need it, who need the access to it.
Yeah, because you were saying something about the community, but I was asking you why people aren't doing those things or wanting to face the trauma. You said the shame and guilt.
Think about it. That's why I asked you how old you were. Think about our life experiences. And if we weren't as bold as we were, or weren't as confined, not mentally confined, how other people might feel about their life experiences. I heard quite a bit when I started opening up about my story with my ex-husband about how I decided to leave my marriage. Quite frankly, if the people who know me, if he should be happy, that's all that happened. And then there's other stories. I've lost, a son. I've been homeless. I've had all these other experiences that have molded me into this person that people are like, damn, really? You don't look nothing like that. I know. I feel like it, but it comes with not holding shame or guilt or just accepting my experiences for what they were and not allowing other people to guide the way I'm supposed to feel about it. And I don't think people have yet to experience environments like that.
Because I know for me, I think I felt for sure after falling force window, a lot of guilt and a lot of shame. And like I mentioned, I didn't talk about, I told people here and there because at first I used to think it was cool. Damn, I survived that. But then, was that a yawn or a laugh? Oh, I thought he was chuckling. It just remind me think of, Donald Rollins is?
Yes.
You ever see the clip when he's in the Breakfast Club? And he's talking about some serious stuff like his dad
and
dying, and they started laughing.
He was talking about what his relationship with women and why something was so heartbreaking for him. And dude started laughing. He got up and walked out.
Oh man, that was
Bless his heart.
Good guy. I like him. He's very funny. But when I felt a forced window, I did have guilt and shame because, like I said in the beginning, I felt cool, shit. I felt a forced window. I'm here walking the streets and shit. But then when people started asking questions about it, how that happened, I used to lie.
The story.
I wouldn't lie, but I would just stretch the truth.
See, I never lied.
It wasn't like a lie. It was I gave a snippet. Oh, what happened? I'd be like, oh.
I stopped talking entirely.
I was blacked out drunk. I don't know. Even though I kind of knew more than that, that's all I told them because I was embarrassed that I had got so drunk that happened.
That was you.
That's embarrassing. And then that was embarrassing. Then fast forward, I continued to drink, and I always talk to myself. Like, why are you still drinking to this capacity, bro? Like, I was literally would tell myself this so many times, but it was just automatic. Like you said, it was part of what I felt was my identity.
Yeah.
We're going out, football game. Oh, let's do it. Perfect time to drink. Your birthday? Let's do it. Your baby's first birthday? Let's
Your
do
baby's
it.
third birthday?
Your second cousin's quinceañera? Let's do it. I would find any excuse as an opportunity for me to turn up.
Yeah.
Call off work, switch shifts.
But that was okay. So can I read you for a minute? Because I remember watching the podcast you did with your mom, and I will commend you for that, because that's a really tough conversation for anybody to have with their mom. But what I did like about it is that she heard you. Like she took that in, and she took that shit like a champ too. When you have experiences where life doesn't feel good, then you always want to feel good. So as you start to have these other experiences, now you have to actually process what didn't feel good about life. So that's what starts to pop up when I see you. So it's not just about the drinking, it's the sadness, it's the loneliness, it's the resentment towards your mom and resentment towards your dad. And then alcohol makes all of that okay for a short period of time.
Hell yeah. Shit, it did. You're right. Alcohol and women.
Yeah.
It's a weekend. I'm gonna get drunk. I'm gonna get on Hinge.
But that's all we need.
Bumble,
I just need for
go
when
to
those feelings to come
fucking
back up, because
PTs with a girl.
I've been forced to self-regulate for so long. This is how I regulate. And since I'm not hurting anybody and everything is consensual, then why not? Because in the end, it hurts you.
Damn, those were good old days. I don't regret them or anything. I don't want to do it again. But it's like when I think back sometimes, I'm like, damn, I used to just. But I heard this quote recently. It was so good. I was just, what was the fucking quote?
Damn.
I was just existing.
Yeah.
I wasn't living.
I was out here minding my own business.
I was just existing, walking, coaching. And it's crazy. I was working at Orange Theory still at the time. Well, I'm there now again, but I was working at Orange Theory and I was working a job I loved. Cool. And then it's the weekends, turn it up, get on the dating app, find a girl for the weekend or whatever, or old thing. And it was a repeated cycle for weekends and weekends. And it wasn't until once I got sober, I could look back on it now. Like I was just existing. I was not living. Like now I feel like I'm living.
Right.
Like I wake up, I feel like I got a purpose and a mission of shit I'm trying to do. And honestly, sometimes I hate to say it, but it was all because of alcohol.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I feel people might think like, if I give up alcohol, my whole life's not going to change.
It absolutely will.
That's what I'm saying. And it's like, maybe not right away, right in the first few weeks, not in the first month.
And it also depends on your relationship with it.
That is another thing too, is I try to share and make people understand is that my relationship was completely different than others. As you can see the story, I'm sharing the stuff while I was using it the way I was. There's people, you might be one of them, you might know people who they can go to dinner, have a favorite cocktail, be good. They can have a couple glasses of wine and be cool. That wasn't me. Mine was,
you hit it hard every time.
I want to get fucked. I want to black out. It's blackout games. That's what it was. I'm making sure tomorrow I got nothing to do because tonight.
I'm making sure tomorrow I have nothing to do.
Tonight, or how's the saying go? At dawn, we ride. That was me, bro. A bottle of tequila per night.
Oh.
Me and my friend each one would grab two and just one time when I was maybe 19, 20, and this is 20, yeah, I was like 19, 20. It's back drinking like vodka, and I was drinking anything at this point. I was still young, not caring. And I remember me and a friend of mine, this dude was like 6'6", 2-something, big dude. And I'm smaller, shorter, whatever. And we had a shot competition. Who could take the most shots? Bro, we were going back to back for all night. Ooh. Take it, go mark it on the board. Boom. We started with, I think, vodka. Then we had Captain Morgan.
And then we started mixing. Ew.
Yeah, because we ran out of liquor. So it was like, we had to start getting what we had left. I shit you not.
It's not funny.
It is. I shit you not. That night, I took 30 shots of alcohol and beat him. Sorry, I ain't gonna name him because I don't know if he wants to be known, but beat him. And anyways, the next day, I woke up, I had like this big ass burn, like carpet burn on my face and big ass mark right here. And I woke up, I was still fucking drunk.
Yeah.
Jumped into the pool, all my clothes on, just drunk the whole day. Still, it was crazy. And I was speaking to somebody, this girl who I was hooking up with at that time had told me like that night she was talking to me like this, and then my eyes just,
Whoa.
and I just fell forward. And that's how I had the mark, like a fucking movie.
You know what? I feel like everyone that I've ever known who drank to that capacity all has one of those stories.
Yeah.
Ironically, transparency moment, it was one of the reasons why I was really intrigued about working with you down this road of sobriety. I had a really good friend in my life that I am the woman I am today because of him, but he literally drank himself to death.
Oh shit.
He put me through massage school. He was the how I got out of my abusive marriage. And I think back, and he was probably one of the reasons why I felt the need to heal the way that I did. I never had anyone invest into my life in that capacity. I never had anybody care that way. So when the time kind of came for me to, put all that effort he put into me to work, and then I was in a situation where somebody didn't see my value as well. So the fasting came from I'm building this life, and I was with somebody who wanted to turn me into the angry black chick really fast. So instead of going angry black chick, I went into fasting, and then I allowed my mind that wanted to scream to, have its own fit and calm down. So when I finally made it to the other side and I could think clearly and all these whys as to why I'm here, what I'm doing, who am I doing it for, all these things. And to your point, when I finally took everything out of my world, then this thing for my friend starts popping up, and then all these purposes as to the son that I lost started coming up, and I'm like, I can't afford to lose these things. So that's another thing to consider as well, is what do you have to live for? Most people can't tell you that.
Like I said, they're just existing.
Well, like the loss of my son was one of my big things, was why I came back to the massage industry in the first place. Without that loss, I probably would have put it back on the back burner the way that I did. And it was I want to say there was something about, I was at work and somebody was like, well, they were asking me or something like what was wrong with me, because I was very much so in a daze. So like after, losing kids, you kind of go on autopilot. And I was like, you know what? If I'm going to be fucking miserable, I'm going to be miserable and go do what I want to do. So I came back to massage, and that's how I started fixing my body with certain things, was when I went back to school and I was indulging in just anything that would work. I put it to use. So when this person tried to trigger me down this road of destruction, I had to reel myself back in and remind myself what I was doing it for.
Damn. Your why.
Well, it took a minute. it took a minute, and it took a lot of like self-restraint, and it took a lot of honesty, and it took a lot of like release, and it took a lot of all those things that I sat on and I held on to, that I was like, if it's not letting me do this, if it's not projecting me this way, if it's not taking me towards these people, you got to get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Everybody
Clean
and everything.
House. Clean house.
I was left at the end of the day, I think, with like 2 people.
That's all you need. 2 to tango.
I think I even still dropped one of them afterwards. Like,
so it's just you and them, just 2 people. 2 to tango. I won. See?
Yeah.
I got it right. I know things.
You know what? You do know some things.
I surprise myself sometimes. I'm not going to, I don't surprise myself.
I was going to say, don't even sit here and lie to the people like that.
So we have decided,
we're going to put these brilliant brains together.
Yes. And we're going to put together your experience and expertise in things you've done over the years, people you've worked with trauma, me and my expertise in sobriety, and then the fitness, nutrition realm, just overall wellness, right? And we're putting together this event.
I'm excited.
It's a workshop, so it's not just going to be us there talking, clicking slides. Our goal is to have people interact, actually reflect,
engage,
actually not only just do the work, but I want this to be for them to feel safe, right?
Right.
Because as we talked about today, trauma, there's a lot of shame, a lot of guilt. And I want this event to give them that safety to feel okay, like to feel seen in a sense, right?
Yeah.
Like you're not alone. Everybody in that room is going to have something fucked up with them.
Yeah.
I hate to say fucked up, but things went down.
Even the healing people, we all have a story. We all have a thing.
And what you said before to me when we were on a phone call was, which I've learned as I went through it, and I'm pretty sure you have, when you're in your healing journey, you get to a certain point, right? Okay, you fix that. Oh shit, this other door opens. So now you need another level and different type of support and a different type of tools. So even the people who are already in the healing journey, this is where they need to come to this event. So it's a clear mind, strong body, healing, trauma and healing wellness event.
There we go. Okay.
I think that's the name.
Yes.
We're putting it together. Sorry. So this event will take place the end of April.
27th.
I'm just gonna say end of April for now,
Okay.
until we signify the whole thing, because it comes out this week. But end of April, we got the workshop. If you feel stuck, you feel like trauma's holding you back, if you're on your sobriety journey or thinking about your sobriety journey, if you want support,
If you just don't want to be alone.
right there. You don't want to be alone. This is the event for you. So if you're watching this and your mind is saying maybe, that's a hell yes. I'll put the description or link in the description of this video so you can buy your tickets. It is going to be a smaller, intimate setting. That way we can just be around each other more and talk, and you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
we're
Organic
not going to sit around and do kumbaya.
No.
Yeah.
Kumbaya never worked.
If
for
you
me.
see my personality, you see her personality, it's going to be some honesty in the room. It's going to be...
We want results. We want people to feel like there are people who do have their best interest at heart and have the resources. And if they don't have them currently, then we'll figure out how to go get them.
Period. Any lasting words? We're gonna finish up here. Give me a quote. What's a quote? Give me a quote.
Oh, my favorite one that I live by, and it's the one that I stand on, is the show's not over until I say it's over.
Who's that by?
Me.
You made that?
I keep going.
Let's go.
You just keep going. No matter what, I don't care how much it hurts. I don't care what you're missing. You'll make, once you make it through, then you can say it, but it's not over till it's over.
I love that. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. A lot of trauma, a lot of talk. Coming up, the end of April, Strong Body, Clear Mind, Wellness and Healing Workshop. Me and Gabby are teaming up to bring you the tools, the resources, and the support you need. Once again, if you're on your healing journey, you need help on the next level, this is for you. If you're stuck and unsure, this is for you. If you're watching this, this is for you. It'll be in person and virtual. The link to get your tickets is in the description. Go now. It's very limited, very exclusive. It's all white party. I'm just kidding. It's not. I'm going to leave you with the final words. You control the energy you bring into the room.
Yes, sir.
Always remember that. Whether it's work, home, the gym, I don't care who's there. You control the energy you bring. Don't forget that. You want it to light up the room? Light that shit up. Don't be a thermostat. Thermostats sit there and tell you how hot or cold it is. You're better than that. You control the energy you bring in the room. Get in there, light shit up. 2 words, buy your tickets.
Yeah, what he said.
It's 3 words, but whatever. Is that hour?